Hmm. Where's the numbers? Oh, where's the beef? Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your sensei, Al Bob. I tried to start a show called The Big Splat #1, but we didn't get anything out of that. Just wouldn't start. So I just gave it a new name. What do you know? What do you want to know? And we are at a very interesting situation. It's a big hurricane, bigger than right. So I'm way far away from it, and we probably had 6 inches of rain. Now they kind of emptied the lake, and then it started to fill itself up. It was about maybe a quarter full. Well, it's all the way full, past full. Now, if we get 3 or 4 times the amount of rain that we got last night, it's going to be interesting. That seems to be happening across the planet, whether it's in the Gaza Strip or Beirut or Russia. It's all the same kind of something's going on. So here's something to listen to, and I'll be right back. Ever since that monumental leap into interstellar space, Voyager 1 has continued its mission, tirelessly sending back invaluable data from billions of miles away. It's been collecting information on cosmic rays, those high-energy particles that constantly bombard space, along with magnetic fields and plasma waves, which help scientists understand the nature of space far beyond our solar system. Voyager 1's journey into the void has given us insights into the environment between stars, an area we could only speculate about before. The data it continues to transmit helps us map out the cosmos in ways that were previously unimaginable. Every bit of information from Voyager 1 brings us closer to understanding the vast, mysterious stretches of space that lie beyond the reach of our sun's influence. And that brings us back to the present day, where things have gotten weird. The data Voyager 1 is sending back doesn't add up. According to what we know about how its control systems work, it shouldn't be able to do what it's doing. It's like having a car that's 50 years old with a broken engine, but it still somehow manages to start and drive across the country. Scientists are calling it impossible, and Musk, being Musk, is sounding the alarm. So, what exactly is going on? Some scientists think it could be a glitch in the system, but the thing is, glitches usually make things stop working altogether, or they send completely nonsensical data. That's not what's happening here. The data Voyager 1 is transmitting is meaningful. It just doesn't match up with the spacecraft's current state. It's as if Voyager 1 has somehow adapted or been affected by something out there that we don't yet understand. Musk has been vocal about his concern. He's not just interested in the discovery because it's strange. He's worried about what it could mean for the future of space exploration. You see, Musk has always been one to push the boundaries, whether it's with Tesla's electric cars or SpaceX's reusable rockets. He's constantly looking to innovate. But with innovation comes risk, and Musk knows that space is full of unknowns. He's talked before about the potential dangers of deep space exploration, and this Voyager 1 mystery plays right into those fears. Is it possible that Voyager 1 has encountered something, some force or phenomenon, that we haven't even begun to understand? If you ask Musk, he'll tell you that space exploration is about more than just going to Mars or building a base on the moon. It's about preparing for the unknown. And this impossible discovery is a stark reminder that the universe is far more mysterious than we've ever imagined. For him, Voyager 1's strange behavior is a wake-up call. As we push further into space, we need to be ready for surprises, things that might challenge our understanding of physics, technology, and even life itself. The thing that really makes this discovery so intriguing is that it's happening at a time when space exploration is ramping up like never before. With companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin competing to send humans to Mars and beyond, we're on the cusp of a new space age. But this strange data from Voyager 1 reminds us that space is still full of mysteries. And as Musk warns, we need to proceed with caution. Voyager the First of may be an ancient relic by today's tech standards, but it's still teaching us valuable lessons about the universe. After all, if a 45-year-old spacecraft can send back data that baffles some of the brightest minds in science, imagine what new discoveries await as we build more advanced technology and venture even further into the cosmos. Musk, ever the visionary, sees this as both an exciting and sobering moment. While he's driven by the desire to explore and colonize new worlds, he's also keenly aware of the risks. This discovery from Voyager 1 is just one more reminder that the universe is vast, strange, and full of surprises. Part 2: Musk's Perspective and Voyager's Legacy of Discovery. So, what does Elon Musk make of all this? For starters, Musk has always been someone who looks at the bigger picture. When most people see a rocket launch, they think, cool, that's impressive. But Musk? He's already thinking about what happens decades down the line when we're living on Mars or traveling to other star systems. And with this latest mystery from Voyager 1, Musk sees a potential warning. To him, the weird data coming from Voyager isn't just a fluke, it's a sign that something is going on in space that we don't fully understand. And for someone who's betting the future of humanity on interplanetary travel, that's a big deal. Musk has a unique perspective on space exploration. While most people are focused on getting to Mars, he's been very open about the risks that come with pushing the boundaries of space travel. He's not just talking about the physical dangers of rockets or the harsh conditions on other planets. He's also worried about the unknown. Space is full of mysteries, and as Musk likes to point out, we've barely scratched the surface when it comes to understanding the cosmos. Voyager 1's latest discovery is exactly the kind of unknown Musk is always warning about. The spacecraft is sending back data that doesn't match up with how we think it should be functioning. It's like getting a phone call from an old landline that's been disconnected for years, and yet somehow the call comes through clear as day. It shouldn't be happening, but it is. And that has Musk thinking, what else are we missing? He's not the type to panic, but he is the type to ask tough questions. Could this strange data be a sign of something bigger, something we've never encountered before? Is Voyager 1 picking up signals from an unknown force in the universe, or has it been influenced by something we can't even comprehend yet? These are the kinds of questions Musk has always been fascinated by. It's not just about the technology, it's about the deeper mysteries of space. And in many ways, Voyager 1 is a perfect symbol of that. Here's a spacecraft that was launched in 1977, long before Musk was even thinking about rockets. And yet, it's still out there, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. And now, 45 years later, it's delivering one of the biggest space mysteries we've ever seen. To understand why this matters so much to Musk, you have to look at what Voyager 1 has accomplished over the years. This isn't just some old piece of space junk floating around aimlessly. Voyager 1 has been a trailblazer, literally going where no man-made object has gone before. It's traveled farther from Earth than any other spacecraft, and along the way, it's made some of the most important discoveries in the history of space exploration. Remember the moons of Jupiter and Saturn? Voyager 1 was the first to reveal just how active and complex these moons are. Take Io, for example. Before Voyager 1 flew by, scientists assumed that most moons in our solar system were cold, dead rocks, much like our own moon. But Voyager 1 showed that Io is anything but dead. It's covered in active volcanoes that spew sulfur and other gases into space, making it the most volcanically active body in the solar system. Then there's Europa, another moon of Jupiter. Voyager 1 gave us the first close-up look at Europa's icy surface, which led scientists to believe there might be a vast ocean beneath the ice. And where there's water, there's the possibility of life. These discoveries set the stage for future missions like the Europa Clipper, which is set to explore the moon in even greater detail. And let's not forget about Saturn's moon, Titan. Voyager 1's flyby of Titan was one of the most anticipated moments of its mission. Titan has a thick, hazy atmosphere that scientists have been eager to study for years. Voyager 1's instruments revealed that Titan's atmosphere is full of complex organic molecules, which again raises the question, could there be life out there? The data Voyager 1 sent back from these moons sparked a whole new era of planetary science, and it's still influencing space missions today. But it's not just about what Voyager 1 discovered back then. It's about what it's discovering now. After all these years, the spacecraft is still sending us valuable data, even though it's now over 14 billion miles away from Earth. In 2012, Voyager 1 made history once again when it became the first human-made object to enter interstellar space, the region between the stars. This was a monumental achievement, but it also opened up a whole new set of questions. What is interstellar space really like? What kind of cosmic forces are out there? Space exploration. This is where Musk's concerns come in. As Voyager 1 travels further, it's encountering things we never predicted. For instance, one of the more recent discoveries is that the density of plasma in interstellar space is much higher than scientists expected. This has forced scientists to rethink their models of what space beyond the solar system looks like. And now, with this latest batch of data that doesn't seem to make sense, Musk is wondering if we've underestimated just how strange and unpredictable the universe really is. Musk's fascination with Voyager 1 isn't just academic, though. It has real implications for the future of space travel. Think about it. If we're going to send humans to Mars or beyond, we need to understand what kind of environment we're sending them into. And if a 45-year-old spacecraft is still encountering surprises, what does that mean for future missions? Musk has always said that we need to be prepared for the unknown, and Voyager 1 is proof that space is full of it. At the same time, Musk is also inspired by Voyager 1's legacy. This is a spacecraft that was built in the 1970s, long before the digital age, and yet it's still out there, functioning and sending back data. It's a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. And for Musk, it's a reminder that sometimes the oldest technology can still teach us the most valuable lessons. Voyager 1 is like a cosmic time capsule, carrying with it not just data, but the dreams and hopes of the people who built it. And now, those dreams are colliding with Musk's vision for the future. Musk has always been vocal about the need for humanity to become a multiplanetary species. He's talked at length about the dangers of staying on Earth, whether it's from natural disasters, climate change, or even the potential for human extinction. For him, the key to ensuring humanity's survival is to spread out, to colonize Mars, and maybe even other planets in the future. But to do that, we need to understand the universe we're venturing into. And that's where Voyager 1's impossible discovery comes into play. Voyager 1 is reminding us that space isn't just a vast, empty void. It's full of surprises, some exciting, some potentially dangerous. And as we prepare to send humans further into space, we need to be ready for the unexpected. Musk has always said that space exploration is the ultimate adventure, but it's also a high-stakes game. The unknown is out there, and Voyager 1 is proof that we're only just beginning to understand it. Part 3, the future of space exploration and Voyager's legacy. By now, you're probably feeling the weight of just how incredible this whole Voyager 1 situation is. We've covered Elon Musk's warning, the impossible data coming from this decades-old spacecraft, and how it has left scientists completely baffled. But what comes next? What does this mean for the future of space exploration? And how does Musk's vision fit into all of this? Well, buckle up, because this part explores the big picture, where we're heading next in space, how Voyager's discoveries are shaping that future, and why Musk's warnings about the unknown might be more relevant now than ever before. First, let's talk about what this impossible discovery means for science. Voyager 1 has been out in space for 45 years, and during that time, it has done something truly incredible. It's continually challenged what we think we know about the universe. Scientists are now looking at this new data and realizing that it's not just a one-off anomaly. It's showing us that there are still fundamental things about space we don't understand. And when you think about that, it's a bit unsettling, isn't it? For all the advances we've made in space travel and exploration, the fact that a spacecraft launched in the 1970s is still surprising us today says a lot about the limits of human knowledge. This ties directly into Musk's broader vision. His dream is to make humanity a multiplanetary species. He wants to send people to Mars, build colonies there, and eventually even go beyond that. But as bold and exciting as that vision is, Musk is very aware of the dangers involved. He's not naive about space. It's beautiful and awe-inspiring, sure, but it's also unpredictable and dangerous. The latest Voyager 1 discovery is a perfect example of why Musk has always emphasized the need to be cautious when venturing into the cosmos. You can't prepare for everything, but you can prepare for the unexpected. And if this impossible discovery tells us anything, it's that the unexpected is always lurking around the corner in space. Think about it. If a spacecraft this old can uncover something that defies our understanding, what else is out there waiting for us to discover? Musk has pointed out that space exploration is like opening a door to the unknown. Every mission, every probe, every piece of data is a step into a territory that no one has ever charted before. And while that's thrilling, it also means we need to be careful. Musk's plans for Mars and beyond involve pushing human life to its limits, and Voyager 1 is a reminder that we can't afford to get cocky about our abilities. The universe doesn't play by our rules. Now let's get into what Musk sees for the future, particularly with SpaceX. His ultimate goal is to colonize Mars. To him, getting humans off Earth and onto other planets isn't just a cool sci-fi dream. It's a survival strategy. Musk has said many times that humanity needs a plan B in case something catastrophic happens on Earth. Whether it's natural disasters, climate change, or something more unexpected, like a comet strike or even human-made disasters like nuclear war, Musk believes our future depends on becoming a multi-planet species. But how do you prepare for that when we're still discovering weird, unexplainable stuff like what Voyager 1 is sending back? The truth is, we don't have all the answers. Voyager 1's impossible discovery is proof that there's still so much we don't know about space. And Musk's point is that we have to keep learning, keep pushing the boundaries, but also be ready for the curveballs the universe throws at us. SpaceX's advancements, like reusable rockets, ambitious Mars plans, and even future missions to the moon, are all about getting us closer to understanding space and preparing for whatever comes next. Let's not forget that Musk isn't the only one thinking about it.
And that's kind of an interesting thing because pretty much we have been out into space since the 1930s. You know? We have bumped into the unknown. Our whole existence. Just keep reading, the Bible. There's tons of UFO and alien encounters in the Bible. And there are plenty of scholarly folk who have written books, that you should read. And there is a great deal of the occult and the esoteric. That is, esoteric. What's that mean? Hidden knowledge, occult. What's that mean? Special knowledge, right? Spiritual knowledge. And spiritual knowledge is just scientific knowledge that people haven't quite gotten. At one point, something is magic, and then that magic becomes religion, and then that religion becomes science. That's Mr. Newton, that's a good example. He was a very religious guy, but he stumbled across a number of things that were just like Voyager sending back those information, just like Admiral Byrd went to the Antarctic. He just kept going back, and so did the Nazis. The Nazis went there in the 20s and 30s, right? When they were, nothing, They were the Thule Society went there, right? And there were guys in the United States out in the Southwest that hung out near in Colorado Springs, where Tesla went, and there were caves there that had remnants of old civilizations, and both this flying saucer crew, it's like German Flying Club or something like that. And people thought this is before airplanes. They thought they were in balloons, they were anti-gravity devices, right? And the Thule Society had anti-gravity devices, in the 20s, in the 19s, 1919. And they had access through these ancient societies that left, just like Voyager is picking up information and sending it back to us. That makes no sense. It's because it's beyond our ability, because we are stuck in this egocentric power structure, right? And so what do you want to do? It's like, here we are, we're putting all this blood and money into wars, and we're all talking about our cars and all the things that we're scared of. And, it's like, and we have a government right now. We don't even know who's in charge, It's definitely not Joe Biden. It's, and Cammie is definitely, why is she hiding? Because she is not ready for prime time. And she is all about herself, 100%. There's a real dynamic about neuro-linguistic programming that whenever anyone says something like, no child left behind, meaning every child's going to be left behind if we do this, and that's what Orwell talked about, newspeak. So we're living in a world of newspeak. And there's nobody here.
I know, and the printer is 50 amp, the board is 40. I'm going to need
A bunch.
Like I said, it's going to run a rep line, so I'm running smoke and all that.
Oh. Let's see, what else?
Yeah.
There I am live.
You're going to have to consider things that you've never considered, because what we're doing is we're normalizing the precursors of genocide. These are the precursors of genocide, make no mistake. Your friendly college students with blue hair chanting from the river to the sea are talking about the deaths of people.
Robin Report.
Eric, you get no introduction because you've been on the Rubin Report 1,700 times. We just checked the records. It's an awful lot, but it's been... Yeah, what did I do?
It's Eric with the
years.
The new flavor in town has been around a long
London
time.
to do this together. We've got 25 minutes. We had dinner last night. You're, I would say, on it when it comes to the state of the world right now, and your concerns are the things that I think everyone is concerned about right now. I hate to do that. Really appreciate it. Don't know what to do exactly. You know, one of the things that came out of the discussion last night is that I don't think we are where we think we are. I give the analogy that if you have a river that has always been flowing, and one year you have unseasonably cold temperatures, it freezes over. People think they can do what they've always done. They can dive off the rock into the river, and they're going to hit ice one year, and they realize that you have to change your behavior when there's a phase change. I think that many of the recourses that we've thought about, free markets, free speech, democracy, have to be rethought if they become gamed. And I think one of the things that we're experiencing is we don't know whether to roll back to a previous version of ourselves, which would be like trying to find safe mode on a computer where the operating system has become corrupted, or whether we need to go forward for things that aren't capitalism or communism, aren't democracy, because in fact there's been a phase change in our world. And I think what we're doing is avoiding the question of, you know, for example, if Hamas is a democratically elected government and it engages in pure terror, is democracy what we think it is? Does free speech operate the same way if you have armies of bots that can confuse people into thinking that there's a mass of people who believe something, which there isn't on day one, but by virtue of the power of persuasion and social coercion, people are afraid to hold simple, decent perspectives because every time they do it, they're torn apart by what seems to be 10,000 accounts telling them that they're an idiot, that they're cringeworthy, that they're over, that they're barbarous. I watched this happen to you. You've seen my Twitter account, my dad. Well, that's the thing, right? I saw the repetition through what psychologists would call perseveration, where you know, they would just hit you with the same phrases over and over again.
7 years
and it
ago,
causes
I
people
started
to move
big
away from you because we have an
talking about all
evolutionary
this stuff.
program. So I think one of the things that I believe is
Everything is scripted.
you know, if I
The
think
war in
about
Ukraine,
the
it's
early
the
work you
war
and I
of
did together, we were talking about fake
the
news.
war in
and
Gaza,
what was
it's the
coming out was
war
pretty prophetic.
of
That stuff held up pretty well.
jiggering
You're on the
well,
short list
that
of people
whole
that I would say that
geopolitical,
interviews
economic,
actually do
and
stand
energy
up,
source.
and we're ballpark
South
right
Asia.
or let's say directionally right about where this was going to go. Sure. Fortunately, we're sort of in the prequel version of Star Wars now when Yoda says, "What failed we have." That seems like in some respects. Well, and somebody tried to execute Order 66, and so the Jedi, you know, were put under a lot of pressure. But one of the things that I really appreciate is the number of people who've had their relationships strained by the relentless attack we've all been under. You know, you used to be a liberal and a lefty. I'm still in that position. And the fact is that we're still talking. We're still here, man. Well, and a large number of us never stopped talking to each other. Some people have stopped talking to us. But one of the things that I think is really impressive is the extent to which we have held together. And even if I disagree with some of the positions you've now adopted, whatever, the same rules go. So what I was going to say is, if we want to do the same thing we were doing all those years ago, we have to figure out what are the edgy things nobody's prepared to think that unfortunately are going to be prophetic. And I think one of them is going to be that you can't simply keep invoking democracy, the free movement of people, diversity is our strength, et cetera, because it's going into a place that's going to be anything but tolerant. We're going to have to learn, for example, that we must be intolerant of intolerance to be tolerant. It's like multiplying -1 times -1 to get a positive number. And I think people are afraid that they're going to have to turn against things that have always been true, but like that winter where suddenly things are colder than usual, the river stops flowing the way it always has. You have to watch. So in the interest of time, and we'll pick this up back when we're at anytime you can come to the Free State of Florida. But so at dinner last night, we had a great
Why I
table
was
of people
put on
from
the
James
tab
Lindsay and
was
Douglas
to
Murray
be
and Melissa
at
Shannon,
well
all the
opposite
people
that
goes in
voice
the
and
usual
Alex
suspects.
with
Benedict Coleman, Ed Coleman Hughes. This was the whole crew of people that I worked through all this.
things.
What we were whittling it down to last night is exactly what you just talked about there: the paradox of tolerance and what Western societies are going to have to do in the face
we had this
of now,
dualist,
I guess you would
everything's
call political or cultural
duality,
movements
right?
that are using our freedoms against us. So in relation to what we saw here just a day or two before you and I arrived in London, this 200,000 person size protest with Al Qaeda flags and Hamas flags and River to the Sea chants and everything else. What does a Western society do related to speech? Understanding that you're going to have Western Europe as certain laws related to speech.
You're going to have to consider things that you've never considered, because what we're doing is we're normalizing the precursors of genocide.
The pagan Roman Empire became
These are the precursors of genocide, make no
the Holy
mistake.
Roman Empire.
Your friendly college students with blue hair chanting from the river to the sea are talking about the deaths
So
of
they
people.
threw Western Europe
And
and the
what's
known world
more,
into the Dark Ages. for
The
900
people
years.
chanting this are going to get
They got
exactly what they
everyone being able
oppose.
to
They're going to get
read,
farther and
right?
farther. They are electing the
All
right-wing
voiceless,
government in Israel that I don't want.
Sleep,
You may support them, but I don't want that right-wing government in Israel.
right?
They want to pull their children
But, you know, the word
from the
prophet
rubble
stands for
because the
fornication
videos are that
under
powerful.
church.
By
Okay.
normalizing the concept of martyrdom,
And you know what fornication is?
what you're seeing
Fornication
is what I've
not
called
sin.
the IDF assisted suicide,
Fornication is sin.
which is how do we get
Only
the IDF
sin
to attack
to be
our cities,
disconnected
our
from
population
God's love.
centers?
So
If we
you
can
read
just,
the Bible,
for example,
you know,
put our military
Deuteronomy,
installations
Judges,
proximate to a hospital or a
Kings,
school,
Exodus.
we can put
It's
the IDF
all
in
about
what I've said is Zugzwang, which is a
God
term
is
borrowed from
constantly
chess
about
for
how
when
Israel,
every
Israel
move
in a
your
nation
opponent gives
state,
you leaves you worse off.
it's the human
And if
race.
Israel does not extricate itself
He
from the
talks
dance
about
of
him
death
like
with a
Israel
non-traditional
his
foe,
whack
it's going to
job
find that its soul will
girlfriend
be
stealing
destroyed.
his
And I want to be
cigarettes
very
and
clear about
taking
this.
his
We're used to the idea
money
of
out of his
nations
wallet.
warring over things like mineral rights and shipping lanes and territory. This is not that. This is a non-traditional foe, which is saying, we are going to fight you in ways that you don't want. We want you to hurt us as badly as possible because we're after your soul as well as the land.
Right, and we're going to do everything imaginable and unimaginable to you in the process.
Sure.
Right, so there will be no rules in terms of what we will do to you, and we will also rip up the rules in how you will possibly
We will
respond.
cause your children to come home from college supportive of barbarism and atrocities beyond the pale. And it's time to release more video on mainstream channels to show what people are supporting. How many people have the guts to watch a resistance fighter take a shovel and attempt to sever the head of a corpse? What is it like to shoot into a porta potty? Or at least, please show me the brave resistance fighter shooting directly at the tire of an ambulance. I mean, nobody's getting killed. There's nothing graphic about it, but you know what it is. It's like trying to say, we want to make sure that you can't get your injured to a place where they can be healed. What we're talking about is, and mark my words, you're talking about a non-traditional foe, and all of your intuition is how to fight a traditional foe. And it's time to recognize that Western society has been gamed. And if you do not decorrupt and de-game what has happened, and you keep saying we want democracy, we want freedom of movement, et cetera, diversity is our strength, you're talking about killing many people. And by the way, this starts with the Jews. It's not ending there.
Yeah, well, that's one of the lines that I think from October 9th, the first Monday after this, immediately said, I think this is about the Jews. You think when they're done with the Jews there, they're going to go like this.
Well, but also,
wait, I want to get this back to the free speech part because without getting too lost in the geopolitics of the church. Like, what do you? So we're here in London. There are quite literally hundreds of thousands, if not more, people in this country that seemingly support this. How do you, as a Western nation, defend free speech and defend the right to protest and all that stuff without self-immolating? Which seems like it might be happening.
Maybe you're misunderstanding. That's what the people who are the hardest line from that side have figured out.
No, I know.
They have figured out you are going to be slow to realize that free speech will kill you.
Well, this was the nature of our conversation last night when it got pretty hot.
Because it's the most difficult conversation. And look, if you and I have any basis of our relationship, is that we get there early before anybody's willing to talk about these things. Like we would have come across as conspiracy theorists before the Twitter files came out, before we knew that the GEC or CISA inside the Department of Homeland Security was actually coordinating social media, what could and couldn't be said. What we are going to have to realize is that our most sacred tenets have been weaponized against us. And if we do not put the brain power into de-weaponizing and realizing that we are in what I've called the no-name revolution, right? Years ago, 2017, I was saying that on stage at Masada. This thing is going to spread worldwide. The chain of transmission from the Gaza Strip to Iran to distracting the U.S. with its 11 active carrier groups, and then China says how many of those groups have to be engaged in regional skirmishes before the Taiwan Strait becomes more interesting. I think what we're not understanding is the post-World War II era defined a bubble that will never exist again in human history, and that we've spent our entire lives in an anomalous period thinking that it's normal.
So when a lot of people now see our kind of geriatric and 80 plus
Makes no sense.
that basically gets to the thesis of your point, right? Like we've had a set of leaders, and I don't mean it purely on the age level. Our intellectual class has been running around defending something that in some ways didn't exist anymore, whether it was economically or related to free speech or anything.
Sure. So we just lost Dianne Feinstein, but the fact is that our leaders now are basically have been born in the 40s, maybe the late 30s, and a lot of these people, they spent their entire life in the shadow of the generation that knew the horrors of the early 20th century. And they're not the adults. They're peacetime adults for a peacetime that was only possible because of the anomalous nature of World War II and the intellectual power of atomic weaponry, which caused everyone to realize how serious life was. I can tell you that because I've been talking about the need to explode a rare nuclear device above ground because people have forgotten their fear. They thought that the Cold War consigned nuclear weapons to be an archaic concern. Nobody is thinking that anymore, right? Things need to be so concrete for people to shake them out of their stupor that it's almost beyond belief.
So is that the bizarre, and I hate to use the term, but it's come up a couple times last couple days, is that the bizarre silver lining to this moment, the barbarity and the live stream nature?
We haven't seen
everything. No, well, we've seen it to a degree. We have certainly not seen it all.
No. We haven't seen it. I've seen things and you have seen things on Telegram channels where you have to work really hard because the Google search engine seems to hide things from us. There is some desire to normalize things. There's concepts like strategic silence, where you don't report the news as a news organization because you're worried about what the social effect of it is.
Remember when we did the Vortex of Fake News on the show years ago?
Sure.
Said one of the most nefarious type of anarchy to do my book was the stuff that they won't cover. The stuff that they cover and lie about, we had a little something to work.
Right, but when somebody says, the mass killer shouted a religious slogan in a foreign language, no motive is known.
You don't hear anything about that.
It's time to end this once and for all. And what we're doing is we're playing with ultimate fire. We have to worry about Russia, who in some sense we may have wronged, but they are still butchers and very, very dangerous. China has been playing the long game. I have the ultimate respect for how disciplined they've been, but we have to realize what they really present. India, Pakistan remains incredibly potent. Iran and Israel are poised for something, and people have to realize you've never seen a hydrogen bomb used in anger.
Yeah, baby.
The first time it happens will be like 9/11 raised to the 1,000th power. This was an anomaly, and we squandered the last bit of this. We were supposed to use the post-World War II peace to figure out how to stabilize this place. And we failed. We talked about peace dividends. We worried more about getting swimming pools and luxury automobiles.
Is that just the nature of human reality? You go through these hard times, you build good things, the good people become weak. And
there's this fourth turning thing. And the problem is I have a different version of it, which is hard times make strong men. Strong men make nuclear weapons in good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men and nuclear weapons make end times. And people have to stop this fourth turning nonsense.
Okay, so just again, we'll do this.
I'm talking as fast as I can.
You'll come to Miami, we'll do a proper one, or we'll do it on Skype in the meantime. But I just want to, I'm trying to nail down. I'm trying to nail down the speech component. So when you tell me that, okay, so the river to the sea is a genocidal chant. Yep. In Florida, DeSantis has passed laws. We banned some of these protests because he's talking about material.
And he said he makes us uncomfortable by banning speech.
However, well, it's material support, but yes, people are arguing that he's banning speech.
My point is that he's recognized
This is where
the phase transition.
right. So how do we encourage that while being respectful of the ideas and ideals that we care about? How do we make sure that we have the proper tools, which is what he's done,
How about now?
to
I'll move the video. How about now? Better?
It has to do with the fact that you need an interpretation of the world that allows you not to have a suicide pact.
This is better.
Democracy is not a suicide pact. Free speech is not a suicide pact.
You got it,
Tolerance
kids.
is not a suicide
Okay.
pact. Immigration is not a suicide pact.
But this guy, I put him up to the mic because what he's saying is pretty important.
There are times when you have to uninvite
This is what he looks
ideas.
like. Eric something. He's a physicist.
Given a choice. The choice is, do you wish to have a naive relationship to your ideas?
I mean, it's there today. You just look at that
Come from outside and weaponize these things against you, or you actually realize that you're being called upon to say, what is the soul and intent of free speech? The soul and intent of democracy. And so you're being given a choice between the letter and the intent. For example, if you take the First Amendment of the Constitution, it says Congress may make no law respecting the establishment of religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Somebody says, well, jihad is part of my religion. I am entitled by the First Amendment to practice it, and I will do it with your children.
He's all over.
No, you won't. And the reason is that we have a Supreme Court that acts as the oral Torah to the written Torah that is the Constitution. So the Supreme Court is going to be active, and it's going to have
This
to
is
figure
better.
out how to get the letter of the decision law, the case law, to match the spirit
So,
and
metamorphosis,
intent of the Constitution.
give me another question, another insight
But it's a
that we
matter
can
of
talk
survival,
about it.
and the Constitution will be nothing if we don't survive. And we have to realize that we are now facing existential threats because of incredible simplicity. If we have committed one crime during this period, it is we have pushed out the idea that you can understand freedom through simplicities. I believe in free speech. I believe in open borders. I believe in democracy. I believe in one man, one vote. Well, really,
I don't believe in anything.
Wyoming, which has 2 senators and no people, have the same power in the Senate as California, which has a tremendous number of people and 2 senators. No, there's no one man, one vote. People have to wake up to the idea that they've been fed childlike aphorisms that do not actually work for the very difficult times we're in.
I like this guy.
Let's not wait to become a strong people. Let's not be weak people. Let's realize that we do suspend certain kinds of liberty. You're not exactly free to use free speech if you're privy to something about the invasion of the beaches of Normandy. To just go on social media and say, hey, huge trouble build up. If that were happening today, we would have to restrict. So the idea is we need to let people in on how a mature society actually handled these things over time.
It is the easiest way for people that are maybe unclear about all this to see how for years guys like us were going to college campuses and being called Nazis and had to have security in protesting and microaggressions and all the rest of it. And then the second this thing happens with Israel, suddenly universities are defending your call to genocide. Like, to me, that's like a very good example of how we can show people, boy, this was only about controlling nothing.
Well, look, but there were also issues where people are confused because Israel has chosen to do things that are really not comfortable and maybe not right. No nation has ever only behaved ethically. Israel's not
I don't know
exception.
that any Asian nation has behaved more ethically.
But
I get your metaphor.
and so my point is that there's 2 basic ways to do this. There's the conservative way, which is you say something simple like, no nation has behaved more ethically given the difficult situation that Israel has always been in at an existential level. So that makes good sense to me. Then there's the liberal way of doing it, which is that you have a paragraph that goes on for 12 pages with lots of footnotes and pointers and references and hyperlinks to
Slow delay of the minute.
right. Like I'm not saying this and I'm not saying that. So I'm in the camp that does that thing, and then the conservatives basically say we don't have time for this. Here's the simple thing. It's not quite true, but it's true enough. It's like it's not true that there are only 2 genders, but it's true enough. And so, we're divided. I'm going to talk about, no, there's persistent Mullerian duck syndrome, and you have to understand about developmental identity. That divide, we've got to bridge it.
Even with 5-hour podcasts, it starts.
I understand. Well, I I look to my Muslim brothers and cousins. They just say PBUH. They don't say, in the name of Allah, the most compassionate and merciful, and Muhammad is like, peace be upon him. They PBUH, right? Like, let's get to the chase. Right. I think we have to stop. We just started. This is very bizarre. There's a lot of people.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop screaming, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist, all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.
So, what do you guys think? Huh? Oh, good. He said something here. Oops, let me turn. There, let's see. Animal Officer says we've been attempting world conquest and outcome by this, but socially we progressed. Rights, second hand embarrassment on behalf of another put into Google Translate. Yes. Well, that's good. I like that. That's like, the hand of God. Deus Machina gave you your name. So you have to realize that what we think is just a fol de roi of humanity, there is a hidden hand here, right? There are esoteric and occult entities that have been around since the last 16,000 years or longer, right? There are hidden societies, like, again, you could go look at Admiral Byrd's little jaunts into the South Pole, right? And the Nazis were there first, and they found, underground, civilizations, that are our parents from long ago, and they're just keeping an eye on us and trying to give us little hints. They have come. Like, there was a guy I met at the United Nations. It was Dirk George. He was like 12 feet tall. It didn't even seem to, my wife, and we were, the first time she met him, she was with me, and she kind of turned around and walked into his crotch, and just kind of looked up and started giggling, right? He had, mind control over whoever looked at him, right? He could talk to, that he called soul speak, right? That you could hear him in the head, telepathy, right? But not like a voice. You just kind of would get this sense of well-being and understanding, right? And then we'd have a conversation. And I met him a number of times, right? And this is when I was fooling around with Theosophical Society for years, and up there at upstate New York, they had their own little collective. What is it called? Something. Pumpkin Hollow, that's what it was called. Wisdom's Goldenrod was out there in the Finger Lakes. It was Burton's collective of his students from Cornell, and that was a great, great community. And they've been, I've stumbled into great communities all over the place. Remember the movie Easy Rider? And when the boys were going through New Mexico, before they picked up they were coming from LA and they were heading east. They were like in the west, New Mexico's a place. And, they bumped into a commune, right? And it was beautiful and everybody was simple and everything was, pretty interesting. And I've lived on a lot of those in the 60s and 70s. When I was really young and I was hitchhiking all over America and I was like riding the rails with the Bohemian beatniks. That people call bums, right? They weren't. They were well educated. They had served they were great men who fought wars. There's that movie with Robert Duvall and Michael Caine, and they're living out someplace, and they got plenty of money, and they're taking care of this little kid. I worked in a tobacco shop. I wanted to be the only person in it. For about 10 hours a day, people would come in and talk for an hour or three, people from the same community, but targeted me. It was told to in indirect ways that they were sorry, but nonetheless, I was not going to be let go. Well, being let go is, we're all in prison. That's what our bodies are, This little thing here, this little flesh thing, this bag of juice is a prison for our consciousness, and there's science showing that consciousness is, this photonic. I constantly talk about when we do, guided meditations about the photonic light. That's who we are. Small town politics. That's right. Our bodies are small town politics. So anyway. Not talking. No talk. Okay. I have no idea. You are being more enigmatic than usual, so I can't read the code. So, hey kids, there's 3 of you there. How about some thumbs up? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob. This is an open chat, a live chat, discussing about what's going on around us, and I want the conversation to go beyond, we got to get rid of all those, illegal aliens, and they're taking our money, and blah blah blah. I mean, that is just horse crap. That's we have less crime than we've had, let's say in the 1970s. Our country is built on immigrants. 98% of them are really hardworking, good people. They make more money for cheap, domestic gross product. But the people who cost the most money are rich white people on Medicare who, we don't have a medical system. Our medical system is, when you take everybody and how the health is, we spend more money on it than any other country in the world. And we are numbered below Zimbabwe, So I have to go to work in 20 minutes, can't stick around much longer. Well, so only something enigmatic and brilliant buddy, MB, and let's see. And the Social Security for anyone who's made $70K a year. That's exactly like the percentage that everyone gets out of their paycheck for Social Security and Medicare is, the average guy, they take about $20 out of your paycheck every year, right? Elon Musk's, the amount they take out of his paycheck, it takes him 0.0007 seconds to pay for it, right? So the top 8 guys who are chewing, fish, this is what you should really be upset about, is the top 7 men have control and ownership of 90% of the wealth on the planet. And they didn't get it by hard work. No. They were put there. They are poster boys for the people behind them who really have the control of their 98% of the wealth, right? Those guys are just poster boys, what's his name? Micro Penis Billy. He's I've met him a number of times. Dumb. Every time I meet these guys, they're dumber than doornails, Elon, I don't know about him. I seen him say some of the most stupid things. Like somebody interviewed him and said, "So why do you name your company Tesla?" He had no idea who Tesla was at that time. I'm sure he's been edified and saying, "Well, the lawyers told me that." And the other side of the coin is that he didn't name it. The guys he stole the business from were the guys who named it. They were Tesla files. Right? And why was it called Tesla? Because the electric motors that are running their car are basically Tesla motors. They are. What do they call them? Basically, once you get torquing those motors, they don't take any electricity at all. True, but that can't be changed. No reason. Well, it's going to be changed when we have nuclear war, right? And everyone on top of the earth will be toast, and everyone underneath it, those rich people, they'll be living in their own little underground malls. And the movie is about Planet of the Apes, right? That's us. We're the apes. But like the third version was probably the one I liked best, where there were all these really good-looking white people, even the black people were good-looking white people, and they wore these gowns like gods. And their religious icon was a nuclear weapon. Let's see. Control. As we can control everything. I mean, I'm living out in the middle, and I got rid of virtually everything. I still have a bunch of stuff, but I got rid of pretty much everything. I live on $400 a month, and it's and my job is to talk to you guys to say, hey, we need to think about a better way. And those guys who are esoteric people who I've been playing on the YouTube into this show here, they're at least talking about interesting things. Like this thing about, let's see if I can find it. Let's see.
Do you need anything right now?
Do you guys make omelets? Something that I don't think about. Other than the tacos, what else we had for lunch? I'm not up for a cheeseburger or.
Okay, we've got the tacos, the cheeseburger. We have the prime rib steak sub. We have the smoked chicken steak sub. We don't have any pulled pork right now.
Okay.
We have grilled cheese. We can do like BLT.
Ooh. BLT. Can I have a BLT without the bacon and have an egg in there?
Let me see if we have any tomatoes actually.
I'm really not that about everything I wanted to haven't had. Anyway, so let's go back to this. Let's see. I mean, this whole thing in Israel, it's so. What is it? The thing where you want the end of time since Jesus comes back starts with an M. And this hurricane that's coming towards us. I mean, our weather is so obviously controlled. Like the big fires, whenever they show you the satellite pictures, which they don't show anymore, it's this glowing red line, and that's 100,000 million acres burning in Australia. And it's a straight line. They do this, right? It's obviously being promoted by or caused by a direct energy weapon from space, right? And we've had those since the 40s into the 70s, right? So it's kind of very strange motif. Let's see. Where is the thing I saw about consciousness? Are we on the brink? I don't know about Trump. I mean, all our political assets are, basically actors. Everyone's reading from a script. They all have the teleprompter in front of them, right? Where is the consciousness? What is Johnny Boy doing? Let's see. All questions and no answers. Well,
Okay, so we do not have any tomatoes.
well, I keep saying that, there's a lot of answers. It's all right in front of our face. We're being hoisted on our own counter, and it's because we have been addicted to convenience.
Hi, I'm John Birmingham. Believe in God and Jesus. God loves you. God gave you everything good that you ever had. All the things good you've ever had.
God gave us everything we have. Give us good, bad, and ugly. And those good, bad, and ugly things are important.
God knows.
He wants to run away from everything. He runs away from his responsibility as a parent, right? So what do we got?
No tomatoes.
No tomatoes?
No, apparently they came to us wrong. So
Okay, I'll wait a few more minutes and maybe think of something else.
okay.
But the big heavy sandwiches, I'm trying not to eat anything heavy.
By looking at what they say and how they live, comparing that to how God and Jesus say we should be in the Bible. And if they don't really follow the way that God is and Jesus is, then we know that they're not prophetic. They can't be prophets. Prophets have to be really holy and godly and good. They have to be godly and good, not wholly filled with holes. They have to be really godly and Jesus-like to have prophetic abilities.
It's interesting. See back here, those behind him, right where his big amplifier on those are shelves. I had them covered in books. Books. He has his barbells and the shows that he's working on. I had boxes of books everywhere, piles of books.
Really know God and Jesus. Look at
Which
Scripture,
I
the
was reading
Bible,
all the time.
compare how they live to how God is, how God wants us to be. So don't get the wrong idea about me. If you really study Scripture and know God and Jesus, you'll know that I'm a pretty
Oh, look, here's John ripping me off.
I love God and Jesus, and my name is Al Bob. I always forgive them when they call me a slob. Do unto others as you do it to yourself. Is God gonna get me to marry an elf? I have a big gray beard, and I invented worship. I started rainbow gatherings as an inside joke. I live with Aborigines. They call me a shaman. I save money on food and like to eat ramen. When my dad tried to fart, he crapped on the floor. I ate 2,000 cheeseburgers while telling stories of folklore. I live because of God. He gave me all I ever need. A peaceful, good life of kindness and good deeds. Well, I think that's John's dad. He's really kind and good too. I hope Mike is okay. He believes in Jesus, so you do Jesus. Love Jesus with all your soul. Be like Jesus. Love him, not rock and roll. Jesus is God. Love God the most. God and Jesus and the Holy Ghost. Jesus, 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 God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and in its truth, God's truth, Holy Spirit, and Jesus too. Jesus, God, and Jesus, the Holy Spirit, you are near it. Holy Trinity for you and me. Jesus, Holy Spirit, you are near it. Holy Trinity God will always love you. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
I have to say that's pretty cool. I mean, see, that's what I mean about John. He has unbelievable talent, abilities. You know, he can do anything, and he's up there all by himself. You know.
Steven, is that your new book? Yeah. Look at this. I'm giving this book away this Sunday for free. So here, I want to show you something. YouTube wolves. So I kind of cook amongst other things. But this morning we had a nice little fruit taco, and we had what an old grandma in West Virginia used to call liquor. Yeah. And what liquor is just soup. Yeah. And it's all the good stuff you cook all week long. And you cook it down. And you got a nice amount of it. And it was really, wasn't it good, John? It was good. Yeah, right? It was great. It really tasted good. And when I was in Ireland as a young man, New York City art scene is going to tell you all about it in video. How desperately do we need to be loved and to love? Love's intent is something we all must have. Our spirits, our souls beds upon it. Without love's intent, we become weak and faint, no longer able to look with courage and confidence at our world. With love's intent, we are creative and evolutionary. With love's intent, we march tirelessly with the good thoughts in our hearts and minds and speaking good words that lead to ethical actions within our lives. With love and love alone, we are able to sacrifice for others, to pay forward love's good intent, so we may manifest better and better fruit for ourselves and our families and our neighbors. And that is what art is. This lady here is Inga Sponge, and she was an artist in the first person. She didn't need to be famous. She didn't need to be self-aggrandizing. And that is what art can be. And I was in the modern art movement.
Well, that's Don Boy, and that's all his videos on me. All his videos of me are the ones. They're all above 2,000 and 3,000 K. So, and my little show is pretty much 50, 60 people watch the show, but that's cool. So that's John. John has real abilities, and I'm sure he has juiced his views somehow, because he really understands the technology, you know? And he has so much that he could give to the world, and he's up there in that school all by himself. Now me, I've already done lots of stuff, right? And basically God said, okay, you've done enough stuff. Now it's time to do deeper things. That's what I'm doing here. That's, you know, each of these shows, so 17 people watch it, you know, who cares? I don't care about that. What I realize that I'm doing is symbolically, I'm putting a pebble into the World Wide Web, right? And so I do shows about, 7 years ago. I did a series, and it's there. You can go all the way back. All my shows are still here, and you can go back and see the big splat shows. I don't know if you can look it up. You know, I don't do anything to embed any blah blah blahs into my shows, and that's probably why the algorithms don't pick them up. And you know, that's the bottom line. There was, I'm going to ask Google. YouTube's about cosmic consciousness. YouTube's about photonic consciousness. Doesn't want to answer. Photonic consciousness in humans. Weather for Johnson City, Tennessee. Yeah, it's not doing it. Well, that's the closest city to me, about 60 miles away, Johnson City, Tennessee. So questions, the question, okay, so what's going on? So we are being obviously manicured, bovine, engineered, domesticated to accept this big splat that's coming, right? That we're already in, because that Eric Dube was talking about how, back before World War One, this was all kind of engineered, architect, right? It was a script, and World War One was this war to kill off the majority of the kings and the countries that were run by nobility. Get rid of that. The only noble that's left was the Pope and the King and Queen of England. Right? The rest were just cartoon characters, and maybe Haile Selassie. Right? Sorry, at work. I have to go. Take it easy. Okay. Always a pleasure to see you, Babylon. Come back anytime. This is your community, your family. We're here, right? And everyone else on the live chat. This is your family. And anybody want to get a hold of me, Mano, get a hold of me at the dudaway42@gmail. Right? Love to hear from you guys. And what else? That's about it. Anyone in the way of the big hurricane, it's going to be quite. Because the bands are up here. Like I said, we had about 4 or 5 inches of rain, and that was like, whoa, couldn't believe that. Anyway, my phone got rid of my weather app. Anyway, that's another thing. Has anyone noticed the slight jiggering of the internet? No one's here now. Anyway, so I think I myself may go. Let's see what time it is. Oh, it's high noon. Look at that.